in this traffic. But that's redoubt number 1 to your left, right there. We're going to turn around where we'll be facing that way where the cars be coming behind us. A friend of mine, a Vietnam veteran, lived in that house right there. John Hudson taught me so much. He's passed away now. He said he heard a lot of weird things in that house. A lot of weird things going on. I'm not saying there's ghosts, but he said he heard a whole lot of strange things going on in there. He believed that whatever was around. Who knows? I don't know. Now, it's your discretion how we're going to get turned around. I can't. Okay, I can guard your rear if you want me to. Get out real quick. This is the advantage of early in the morning here.
Are we on the south end of Nashville?
Yes, south and west, but that was far west where we were before. But yes, getting on up the south end of Nashville. Yes, sir.
Redoubt number 1 right there.
Redoubt number 1.
Where's
Nashville?
Now look at this high ground in front of you. If you're going to put some kind of little defensive thing up, when you put it on the high ground, yes. It was a good plan with these redoubts. Hood started working on them. This last one, the little boy's way, but this last one was built on December 13th, though, facing north, which is behind us. I thought this was best to park here where the traffic's coming behind us. So we'll pull up right here and dismount. Watch your step as always. Beside Clay and maybe Maurice, how many of you have been here? None of you. Maurice, have you been here?
Yeah.
Okay. Another.
Big step. I know. It's like you drop off into darkness.
Like he says, have information here. We'll also a lot of times have information on the truck. It's a reproduction of the
All right, somebody had embraces with runs, wood around them.
This is good.
Right. There were 5 of these. We're right here. 1. Take your time, look at whatever. But folks, this is redoubt number 1. If you care, are there any more brochures? Well, then y'all, I don't need this. But you can see how, if we're facing this way, you pass it around. Redoubt number 1, which is where are we? Right there. Redoubt number 1, that I-440. Redoubt number 1 is looking north. Where's all directions? Behind me is north, south, west, and east. Pretty easy on that one. This was the last one built, but these series of redoubts, I've already noted that 2 is behind us, 3 is that Methodist Church, on down the Hobbs Road is 4, and then 5 moving on south as well. Stewart's Corps, about 6,000 held all these redoubts. Rifle pits were, and somebody asked, what is a redoubt? It's an open-end, earthen, small little earthen fort. Some might call it, not really a fort, but nonetheless. And with 4 cannons were set in here. And how the big push, remember how I told you that with Thomas, how he's going to attack on both days is like a boxer. I'm jabbing Maurice with my left. Why do I keep on pointing to you, Maurice? I don't know.
It's just a good punching bag.
But I'm jabbing Maurice with my left. That's to the east. He's going to feint with the left. That's the Stedman's Brigade, USCTs, Knowlesville Pike. That's to the east. I'm jabbing like this, and this is the big right coming over just like this. And who's attacking? In this sector, the Federals Woods Corps, 4th Corps, Kimball's, and Updikes and such. Montgomery Hill is to your north, about 2 miles from us. Confederate had battle lines up there. but lack of wood. Why are they worried about wood? Remember how cold it got? Cold Sunday, 0, and they pulled their lines back on about the 12th. Yeah, back to this area. So there are only 4 redoubts built, and they start working on this redoubt at the end. But and so they're 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, but not enough men to man them. Each one had supposedly the artillery could defend each other, swing them back when they're attacking. Good plan, not enough people to attack. So the first, the Federals came up over Montgomery Hill, and they were shocked to see that their lines up there, but no men were there. A few stragglers, a few skirmishers, or whatever. They thought they were going to take their casualties up here, and yes, those original trenches. Yes, you see those little gaps that are disappearing, but that's where the cannons were as well. And then who's on Wood's right with that big right hook?
Wilson's cavalry.
Smith.
But also A.J. Smith's.
Smith.
Whiskey Smith. And then Wilson's cavalry is going around Wilson Smith. Yeah. Excuse me. That's going around A.J. Smith.
Yeah.
And so A.J. Smith's to the right of Woods, and then Wilson's cavalry is going to the right, making that big long swing around. That's why one reason Thomas waited so long was to supply that cavalry. And they performed damn well in these 2 days, real well. He was wise to do that. Sheldon asked, why didn't Thomas get out and stop him from doing this? He was going to attack on the 7th and plan on the 6th, but then the weather got cold. And then sleet, nice 3 inches of ice on everything. The horses were falling, killing people, falling on them. So they suspended the attack because of the weather. It had been hell for them to try to attack in that ice, even though Grant and them were pushing them and such. And but then started the attack on the 15th. The first attack will be that Granbury's Lynette to the east. We'll go over there in a while. That's where the USCTs were fighting. Remember, the jab with the left. And then Woods is coming up, pow, and A.J. Smith's pow, and then Wilson's cavalry on this long arc around them. So there's a disagreement with historians which redoubt fell first. Some say it was 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Others think that 4 fell first, and then 5, and then 3, 2, 1. But redoubt number 4, which is just about a mile from us, the Lumsden's Alabama battery, with 150 or so riflemen of the 29th Alabama, that's Shelley's brigade. And there being, I think 4 went first, but Lumsden's Alabama battery holding off 5,000 men. That's Wilson's cav, Coon and Capron's, not Capron, Coons and oh God, I can't remember right now, but nonetheless I'll remember.
Smith was involved in 4 and 5.
Sir?
Smith was involved in 4
Smith
and 5.
and Wilson's cav, because Wilson hit 5, and then they're coming back to 4.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Smith is hitting number 4 too.
Yeah.
But Wilson's went pow to 5, and then came back to 4, and then Smith's is hitting 4 as well. That's south of us. And they collapsed, but it was a wonderful stand for 2.5 hours. 4 cannons, Lumsden's Alabama battery, and those riflemen held off for 5,000 men for about 2.5 hours. Hood told them hold the position to all hazards, and blasting away. They're getting hit by artillery too. And finally, after the 2.5 hour stand, Wilson's is coming back behind them, as well as Smith's is hitting them this way, and it's Coons, especially a 3rd Iowa color bearer, dismounted cav, planning on working his bayonet. Finally, Lumsden said every man for himself. The man ran off with the friction primers. And at that moment, a cannonball hit a boy named Highland Rossers. He is 17 years old from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Hit him and took his head off. And that night, his brother, Loren Rosser, stayed in that redoubt with his brother and buried him there and was captured. Why do I know that? In '92, the family from Texas wanted to see where Highland was buried. There's a photograph of him. It haunts me. And I don't think he was ever taken out of there. But his brother stayed with him and was captured. And I took them to that spot. They were telling me these stories. And Lumsden said every man for himself. And that night, Lumsden, he was wet and whatever. He was washing things off, this and that. And he was picking the brains so that Rossers, that Highland Rosser, 17, he's picking the brains out of his beard. out of his beer that night. That's war with all its glory in it. Yeah, yeah. But 4 fell, I think, first, then 5, and then 3, 2, 1. This is the last one to fall. And it was just a contingent of about 80 men, and Illinois troops came through here, and they wanted to surrender. This fell, and then number 2 would fall, I think, next. 1 and then 2 and then 1. But General Claudius Sears was in number 2. He was Sears Brigade at Franklin. He was from Massachusetts, by the way. Moved to Mississippi and was about 3 years old. And he was on a horse named Old Billy. Old Billy. And General Sears is right behind us in number 2. And a cannonball went through the horse's abdomen and nearly decapitated his leg, not completely, but he's standing there over the horse with on one leg, and they had to amputate it on the retreat. And you know what he's saying? Poor Billy. Poor Billy, that's the horse. Poor Billy, he had that horse for 19 years. Blood's coming out of his leg, and he's thinking about his horse. Horses were like cars back then, generally. You know, they were not pets or not whatever, but there were individual cases, like General Adams' Old Charlie, and Forrest Roderick, and Isham was General Cheatham's horse. He gave it a funeral after the war in 1881, buried the horse I don't know how many guns, but a salute over the horse's grave, by the way. And poor Billy died right there, and General Sears on the retreat was captured, but had his leg amputated. So the big right hook, and that Wilson's Cab is performing great work today. This is the western area of the intense fighting. Of course, to the far west would be that Bell's Bend, and I want to stretch. This is the Hillsborough Road, right over there. And then if we follow that to the west, you would hit the Harding Road. And from here to Bell's Bend is about 7 miles. From the Harding Road to Bell's Bend is about 4 miles. And you have troops here to the east and west, but there's a huge gap to the west. So you have Rucker's Brigade of about 700 men. You have Ector's Texans, 900. And then you have those 300 others we saw at Bell Bend. So that's about 1,900 men to cover 7 miles. 7 miles. You had Chalmers Cavalry out as that screen, and then on down to that Bell's Bend. So there was nothing to the west. And to pick up, that's where Richard Johnson is making that movement there to the west that we noted earlier. And then Woods is coming this way. There were entrenchments. Some of them are still barely visible down that way. And the Woods is hitting here and hitting over there. And of course, A.J. Smith is hitting this way, as well as the dismounted cav of Wilson's. This collapses in the afternoon. A.P. Stewart's command was here, and of course the redoubts, and over here to your west, east, over here to your east. And they are starting collapsing, falling back. They're going across the Hillsborough Road. Wathall's command was down the Hillsborough Road behind a stone wall facing west, but this was untenable. And this western area, Stewart's is pulling straight back toward the stone wall, which will be the second day fighting. This is December 15th, first day fighting. And the opening shots were to the east at the Knowlesville Road that we're going to go to, Granbury's Lynette. Fort Negley, how many of you have been there? A few more. They're firing shells in that opening round too. They claim the first shots fired in the Battle of Nashville. Of course, the gunboats claim the first shot fired in the Battle of Nashville. A lot of people claim the first shots. I think it was the gunboats personally that were fired in that opening deal. But this was saved through the Battle Nashville Preservation Society, and they were making prisoners take these guns when they capture them and wheel them that way to fire on their own men. You know, what are you going to do? You going to say no? Well, you could die for doing that. So at Shies Hill, the second day they did that, make Confederate artillerymen start to wheel the guns to fire on the Confederates. You either do it or you don't. If you don't, you could die and such. But these guns were captured. 24 guns were captured the first, 22 guns were captured the first day of the Battle of Nashville. 22 guns were captured the first day. And we're going to go through more things the first day, but Thomas thought that he would retreat after the first day. Hood would pull his line. I'm getting ahead of myself. But this was obviously a long line. He would make a more concise line for that second day from Peach Orchard Hill, Franklin Road Academy, Overton High School, to the stone wall, and then of course the shy seal, like a foot